Welcome back for another CBSI Hot 10 show. Make sure you go over to comicbookinvest.com and check out the article where I may put a few extra tidbits and details that I don't cover here on the show tonight. While the write-ups won't be done right away, I will get them up as soon as I can. As you might or might not know, I am on vacation if my get-up didn't sell it enough for you. So I may be able to get that done as soon as I get home tomorrow with those write-ups. But for now, I'm going to get the show done, and I'm going to try to get it done on time if possible. Hopefully you're enjoying this list as well as everything else here on the channel. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure that you like, you subscribe, you hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. And if you want to see this list, don't worry. I'll be right back after this short little break.
Notable sales.
All right, our first notable sale is this classic Planet Comics number 63, a CGC 9.0 sold this week for a new all-time high in this grade. Apparently, a single buyer bought a bunch of these Planet Comics books this past week, and kudos to them, as these are some classic books, and he got them in all different sorts of grades. But this particular one here in the 9.0 was at a new all-time high at $1,620, which is up considerably from the last 9.0 that sold last year for, what was that, $840. So big jump in price on this number 63, but you're not going to see a lot of them in this 9.0 grade. So that is where that premium is coming from. And again, classic cover. You got a lady in distress there, sci-fi action, good stuff all around. Kudos again to the buyer of all those Planet Comic books. So with that said, there's another interesting book that I wanted to cover here on the show as far as notable sales go. As you guys know, I'm a big David Nakayama fan as well, and I've been keeping my eye on this book for a while now. Yes, I have the reprint edition, so keep an eye on that as well. It doesn't have the New York Comic Con logo on it, the reprint that is, so that one is a little bit more affordable and easier to track down, I would think. But the original New York Comic Con Zen Box cosplay book, limited to 150 copies, doesn't come off very often at all. And here we had a CGC 9.0 sell this week for a new all-time high for this particular book. Granted, not a lot of sales data to go around, but 9.8 sold for over $700 at $712, which is up considerably from the 270 that sold just a couple of weeks before. So in my opinion, I think somebody snuck one at that 270 marker. While 712 is may seem kind of high, I think the overall ending price for this long term will be closer to that 700 rather than the 200 mark, personally. Because again, this thing is very difficult to come by. And yes, it's getting that extra boost right now because of the Wednesday show being back on Netflix. So this Wednesday cosplay book is garnering that attention. It is a gorgeous book as it is, and I can see why the interest is there right now. Ebbs and flows, rises and falls will come, but I think overall, long-term, this thing will maintain a lot of collectors looking for it, like myself. Even with the reprints that I have, I still want the OG original if I can find one for a price I'm willing to pay. Now, with all that said, we still have the Hot 10 to come, but before we get to that, I want to remind any of you out there who need supplies, please use my code RENA10 to get yourself 10% off your entire BCW order. Get your bags, your boards, your long boxes, your short boxes, your CGC boxes, top loaders, pages for your cards, top loaders for your cards, basically anything to keep your comics and collectibles safe. BCW's got a product, and if you got to buy those supplies anyway, you might as well save some money while you do it. So use my code RENA10 for 10% off your entire order. Help out the channel, get yourself a discount, really nothing to lose there. And with that said, we are going to get right into the Hot 10 list starting right now.
Number 10.
So kicking us off here at number 10, we have this Dark Knight number 3, featuring the White Rabbit prominently on the cover. No, this is not her first appearance. Technically, her first appearance is at Adventure Comics. What is it? Adventures of Superman number 500, where she's not the White Rabbit yet, but the character appears there. Then in Dark Knight number 1, we do get a cameo appearance of the White Rabbit inside that book, or folks like to call it a cameo because people like to focus in on here the cover appearance. Point being, while not technically her first appearance, this is the book of choice for many collectors for White Rabbit, and White Rabbit isn't on a lot of people's minds because she just showed up confirmed in the Peacemaker Season 2. rumors she would show up, confirmed with the recent drop of the show just yesterday. So Dark Knight number 3, again, not a lot of volume yet, but this is news just starting today since the show premiered last night. So from Thursday night until now, we've already seen about a dozen sell, averaging about $12 again, where this went back down to being like a very, very cheap book in that $5 to $6 kind of range again. Now we're seeing more $10 to $15 sales. So averages are rising up to 12 again. As you can see, a 9.6 sold for only $38. So it's not a pricey book. It is a book that's had ebbs and flows over the years. It's hitting highs before, reaching like 20 and 25. It may get there again, but I don't know. We'll see. But for now, just again, a few hours basically, not even a full day's worth of sales data. And we're seeing it here, earning a spot here at the bottom. But I would expect more sales to continue over the weekend. Now, with that said, that is our number 10 book. So let's see what we got for you next.
Number 9.
And at number 9, we have the secret foil edition, thank you edition from Image Comics for the newest release of Exquisite Corpses. That's right, number 4 came out this week. So we once again get that foil edition, thank you edition. And folks still enjoy getting them. They're like a 1 per store, 1 per account. So people are collecting them. And with that, we are seeing decent prices for a book that is basically a free book given to shops to sell, this secret foil book. And once again, about 15 or so sold so far. Again, only came out just this Wednesday, so not a lot of sales data to track as of yet, but it's nearing its way towards 20 sales, averaging $35 already, which ain't bad for a free book with foil on the cover. Highs of about $40, which shows you the average and the high being very close. Prices are pretty darn consistent. So they're basically between 30 and $40 in most places. So if you can find one and you're interested, that's what you're looking at. Maybe you can find one for cheaper. Maybe you got a better relationship with your LCS owner and you can get it at a cheaper discount. Hey, who knows? But that's the mark for most right now. And with that, that is our number 9 book, which will take us to our next book here at number 8.
Number 8.
Speaking of Peacemaker and his growing cadre of companions, we have Vigilante showing back up here on the list. So the first appearance of Vigilante in New Teen Titans Annual number 2 has come around, back and forth, up and down, back on that carousel, getting itself on that spec list. It's here again on the list at number 8. So again, not a ton sold. We got almost a couple dozen sold with about 20 so far, with the premiere just again happening yesterday, averaging $22, highs hitting $45 raw. Yes, there are graded copies, so keep an eye on those as well. But Vigilante is again one of those characters that it just kind of comes around, ebbs and flows with the show. As we're getting more episodes dropping over the weeks ahead, we'll probably see this book linger around a little bit. Maybe we eventually get news that Vigilante gets its own series. I don't know if the character's got enough support yet to support a whole show, but you never know. Maybe he'll get a special, like a one-shot. I don't know. But with that all said, this is our number 8 book, which will take us to lucky number 7.
Number 7.
And at number 7, we go back to the brand new day Spider-Man speculation. For the last couple of months, basically, there have been rumored villains, appearances of characters, heroes, villains, otherwise, all over the place. And some of these books keep trading places as nothing is really confirmed, outside of Punisher and Hulk will be there. But as far as the villains go, these guys keep kind of trading spots on this list. And currently, Tarantula is not the latest, but it's kind of come back and kind of stood out from the pack of those other rumored villains, be it Tombstone and the Boomerangs. And we know Scorpion will be back, but that's a pricey first. But Tarantula right now is a book that seems to be garnering a little bit of steam with collectors, as it is somewhat affordable, and you can find decent copies for a decent price with, another about 20 sold this last week, averaging $64 overall. That's with raw copies and graded copies alike. High grade, low grade mixed in together. High raw grade of 120. So again, you're going to pay a premium for a nice copy, but you can definitely find some of these cheaper, as there were a few $25 type sales for those lower to lower mid-grade kind of versions of the book, which are very prominent in our hobby. For a book this old, you're going to find a lot in that grade because not everybody took care of those books. Their books that well back then. So with that said, Tarantula kind of standing out a little bit from the pack. That's not the last Spidey book we'll see on the list for today, but it's our last one for now as we roll on to our next book at number 6.
Number 6.
because now we have the Toxic Avenger back on the list. That's right. Toxic Avenger has been here before. Movie rumored, movie canned, movie going to be released, unrated. Yes, it will, and it's going to come out in just a week or so, right? I think the 29th, I think, is the planned date. So Peter Dinklage's movie, as crazy and wild as this movie looks, it does look like it could be a lot of fun. I'm curious as hell to see it. It's finally going to get to our screens. I don't know how many screens it'll get to or how popular it'll be, but for now, many folks are getting excited, and so, as such, they're buying this book once again. So that Toxic Avenger #1 from Marvel Comics back in, what is it, 1990, 1991, has been doing well with, again, kind of in the same ballpark as our last couple of books, about 20 sales. So we're looking at around a couple dozen sales, averaging 23 bucks. High raw of 36 this week, and that was for a newsstand version, as newsstands of the Toxic Avenger seem to be standing out from the pack, as a 9.8 also sold as a newsstand, 9.8 for $243. So newsstand premium for sure on this book. So if you can find it, look for that barcode instead of that Spidey head, and you'll make yourself a few extra bucks, apparently, as collectors like the newsstand version of this one. And like I said, Toxic Avenger coming out in about a week, so we'll see where this one goes from here. But for right now, it's earned itself its spot at number 6, which leaves us with the top half of the list coming up next with number 5.
Number 5.
And at number 5, we have a book that was on the list last week. This is Magic number 8, the 1 in 25 Daughterman variant, which apparently is pretty divisive. Some people hate the repetitive nature of these Daughterman covers. Some people love it, and that's why they like collecting it. I like these personally. I think it's a pretty cool effect. Why they did some of these as 1 in 25s and some of them as not, and why they're so scattered and we're just seeing them kind of stretched over years, I don't know. But Magic number 8, this 1 in 25, did well last week. It's doing well this week, but it's still dropping a couple of spots because while the volume is about the same with another 35 plus sales or so, $68 on average, it's a 24% increase, and the high's still $100. There's just stuff that was selling a little bit better. So even though higher expectations on repeats, so if they don't really increase in volume and price, they're generally going to fall a few spots on the list, the way I see it. So that's why going from number 3, I think last week, or was it 2, to number 5 isn't that tough or that far of a drop, but it's still selling pretty well, which is why it's still got a prominent spot here on the list in the top half. But with that said, we still got 4 more books for you, so let's see what they are.
Number 4.
New Spidey villain rumors abound, getting people looking for Alistair Smythe? Smith? Smythe? Is it Smythe? I think it's Smythe when we're talking about over in the UK. And the Spider Slayer is, again, rumored to be possibly the villain in the Brand New Day. It would make some sense. I think they're filming over there. So it's possible that this is correct, but we don't know anything for certain yet until we get, we're getting a lot of snapshots on set, kind of showing the costume, etc. But until we get some more confirmation on who's actually in this movie and what the storyline is, I wouldn't take anything for granted here. So take this again, still is rumor, but Spider Slayer could be in the film, and this would be the first appearance that many are grabbing this week. Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 19. We had, how many sales? Over 35 sales, so nearing 40 sales already so far. It's only averaging about $10. This is a pretty cheap book that's starting to jump and pop right now based off of these rumors and speculation. But highs at $20, still room to grow, still probably plenty of copies to find their way to market. I expect to see this one lingering again for the time being until we get confirmation one way or another of whether Smythe is going to be in the film or not. But Spider Slayer is an interesting guess and a good possibility if you ask me. But we'll see what actually happens once we get more news regarding that actual film. So with that, we still got the top 3 left, so let's see what they are.
Number 3.
All right, so I said it before, IG posts can move books, and apparently that's what we have here as a case. I think it's a joke. Some people are posting online about Dazzler and Taylor Swift's new album being a cover for her being released as Dazzler. That's not how this works. She's not going to make an album to promote a Marvel appearance. She herself, I think, is bigger than Marvel. So with that in mind, Dazzler number 3 is still selling very well this week. And I, again, wouldn't throw anything more than $1 towards this book, but that's me personally. A lot of people disagree with me, though, as many people are picking up this classic George Perez. Oh, is this a Perez cover? I might have made a mistake there. It might be a Perez cover. Anyway, Dazzler 3 has been selling thanks to those IG posts showing Doom, showing Dazzler. Yeah, we're still holding out hope Taylor Swift's going to be Dazzler, but 65 plus sales is kind of crazy to me. Hitting highs of 15 bucks. Many of the sales are very cheap. We're talking $5 and less. But highs hitting 15 bucks raw. 9.8 even sold for $125. Not even sure why we even have a 9.8 of this book, but we do. And like I said, FOMO took hold and got the market this week, and that's why we got a lot of people picking up this Dazzler book here at number 3. Not too dissimilar from the other Doom book, just because Downey posted it. Not unlike the book from Deadpool, because Deadpool was shown with the book. People started buying that Secret Wars book, but it is what it is. People can spend their money any way they like, and as long as we're talking about cheap levels like this, it's no big deal either way. So what's 15 bucks? With that all said, let's see what we got here at number 2.
Number 2.
Speaking of Secret Wars, we have Secret Wars back on the list here with number 8. That's right, Secret Wars number 8, the popular grab for the Black Suit Spider-Man. Yes, it is not technically the first appearance. It is more of the origin story, but it is the book of choice for many who want to grab the Black Suit Spider-Man storyline, because you've got like 4 good options. They all came out pretty close together. Even I'm having trouble off the top of my head remembering the order of those books, of all the Spider-Man books that released, the Black Suit Spider-Man from the Amazing, Spectacular, etc. But Secret Wars number 8 has long been a favorite of collectors for the Black Suit Spidey. That pose is iconic. And again, this week, 60 plus sales is not too far out of pocket. This thing sells in that kind of range consistently, because there are a lot of these out there. A lot of these graded. But 60 plus sales is a little bit of a bump from what we've seen lately, because this thing can sell, like I said, 40 to 50 copies easily each and every week. But there were some standout books, which is why I felt with those higher volumes and these standout sales, why I put it here at number 2. Most notably, Raw, Mark Jewelers, $888, which is 106% increase over the last Mark Jewelers Raw book that sold for only like 400 something. So that's a huge jump for the Mark Jewelers insert. And then we had a 9.8 Newsy that sold for $1,400, which again is not too far off, because there are actually 2 9.8 newsstand sales. One was like 1,300 plus, the other one was 1,400 flat. So right around $1,400 for both is still a significant number. Not all-time highs, but still big numbers and a little bit of a rebound in price. It's really the Mark Jewelers is the book of choice for this this Secret Wars book. Whether you're talking about all the different price variants, you got newsstands, you got direct, etc. Mark Jewelers seems to be the one collectors really want to pay that extra premium price for. So with that said, this is our number 2 book of the week, and that leaves us with one more left, and let's see what we got for you.
And our number 1.
And here at number 1, we do have this Batman Dark Patterns number 2 again. And why is it here at number 1? Well, what did last week's jump in price do? It brought out the copies, as one might expect. So, as we had very few sales last week, we had like a dozen, maybe 10, but the price jumping up to about 40 bucks, that caused the market to go digging in their boxes and people digging at their stores, grabbing their copies of this Dark Patterns number 2 and putting them out in the market. And you know what? Folks kept buying them regardless of the higher prices. So with 40 plus sold this week, which is a 300% jump in volume, with the average going up to 38 bucks as all the cheap ones kind of cleared, higher prices getting scooped up, that's a 40% jump in and of itself. And the high hitting $68 for this book at auction, I believe, another 31% jump. So being up across the board, volumes up, prices up, people still grabbing this Dark Patterns book. Some sets sold with issues 1 and 2. People are buying it up. Right or wrong, it's what's happening with the market. People want this book. And we could speculate as to the reasons why all day and long, whatever. People are going to buy what they want to buy. And they are buying this book. And they're buying it for the prices that people are listing it at. I don't know. It was a good story. I mean, it was a decent read. And we should hope that more good stories and regular books start selling more better than worrying about which incentive variant we can talk about here. I mean, personally, I think this is a good thing to see the market react this way, but at the same time, you know, be careful, because if you just want to read it, you can always just wait for the trade. So, with all of that said, and all that commentary aside, I got to get back to my vacation. But don't you guys go anywhere, because the boys with the qualified are starting up next, and they're going to be talking about some Archie books. Yes, Archie's coming to screens pretty soon via Tom King. Boys going to start talking some classic Archie books, and I'm sure they're going to have some fun innuendo covers to go over with you guys. So don't go anywhere. Stick around for the qualified. Come back tomorrow for SNS, Star Wars on Sunday, and then I will be back in my usual spots doing all my regular shows, hopefully on the the normal schedule. Monday with the Wednesday watch list, and then I'll try to seek some other fun stuff out there for you as I can. So with all that said, I'll see you all later with some more content. All right, bye.